We're back. Welcome to Season 10 of ISRA League's Grand Touring Championship, brought to you by Z1 Simwheel. Head over to z1simwheel.com and you can get this excellent LCD display hardware or software. They sell the software separately. You can get these dashboards and the telemetry displays for your sim rig, and in addition to a bunch of really cool wheels that they custom build. It's all at z1simwheel.com. All right, well, this is race 1 of Season 10. I'm Daniel Quaroni, and with me here are Anthony Muniz.
Great to be back for another season with you.
And Brian Carey.
Yep, got my Season 10 pants on, ready to go.
Well, you can see the lineup of cars right here in front of you. At least you could a moment ago. We've got the LMPs leading the top class, followed by the Corvettes in the second class, and the Mclaren GT3 spec car in the third class. And that's going to be a really exciting lineup, I think, and much more balanced than we had last year. Hopefully also better participation throughout the season than we had with the Radical. And Brian, take us through the traditional spa map.
All right, the z1simwheel.com track map. We've got nicely sponsored now. Spa-Francorchamps is my favorite track. It's a fantastic circuit for all kinds of racing. The start-finish line action in this track is right where the number 2 is there in turn 2. It's the endurance configuration. You can see the pits actually swing around La Source being the final corner in our configuration. Eau Rouge, Rayon, 3, 4, and 5 is probably the most epic corner that we use in all of iRacing by far. But the rest of the track, as you can see here, it twists, it turns, it's uphill, it's downhill. It's a very difficult track, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this new car combination play out.
All right, well, we have Wyatt Foster coming back for this season, and he took pole in the HPDs with a 201.8. Brian Carey right next to him with a 202.6, about 0.8 seconds behind him. Then Daniel Gralti and Mike Young on the second row, Ryan Huff and John Kelly on the third, Brent Briles and James Mines on the fourth, and Lance Snyder and Tim McLeish on the fifth row.
And Dimas Maulana, moving to the middle GT1 class, took the pole, with Todd Cover starting alongside him, just 0.6 of a second off of the Q time. Mike Kelly and Timothy Stoll will be on the second row, with Jeremy Burris and Lauren Bateman on the third. Kenny Coughlin and Chuck Chambliss on the fourth row, with John Kuzlin and Mike Taylor starting in the final top 10 positions.
All right, and then our new class, the GT3 here, we have Russell Cow taking pole position first for that class at a 119.3. Chris Dameron Jr. just a couple hundreds behind him. Then Robin Ainscow, Corey Davis on row 2, Troy Harder and Colin McLean on row 3, Julio Palacio and Anthony Muniz on row 4, and then Carl Mumbauer and Ian Boyd on row 5.
And it's a quick pace lap, so the pace car is actually going to dive into the other pit entrance, not the pit entrance that the cars use during the race. And we'll get this thing started in just a moment. There goes the car.
Oh, through the wall. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh, does it still do that? And there we go. We've got the green flag.
And Wyatt Foster jumping out to the early lead, with all of the other LMPs filing in single file behind. Brian Carey's fits in second place, with Mike Young and his Red Bull teammate Daniel Gralti. Guys newly on teams together this season, filing in third and fourth. GT1 looking to get through cleanly as they head down Kimball Straight, and it looks like the McLarens are done the same.
There's Chuck Chambliss in the Golf Corvette there on the left-hand side of the screen, trying to make a move, and also inside it's Mike Kelly. Let's see, and Timothy Stoll behind him, the Turn 1 Heroes band getting back together in the Corvette there for those two cars.
And we're jumping over to Corey Davis, currently in sixth, as he heads through the left or right, and looks like everyone is getting through nice and clean. He's behind Colin McLean, and right behind, oh no, we're going to jump over to James Mines, and he's tussling it out with John Kelly.
There's going to be a lot of action going on right now. There's James Mines, the other Red Bull car, John Kelly, very big number 6 in the front of his car. Slightly updated paint scheme from last year. Anthony actually helped him, I believe, with that one, so looking very nice there. And a lot of these cars you'll recognize, some of them you may not. We'll try to get through it, as it is new for all of us as well. I'm trying to pin down who exactly is who, but Mike Young, currently 15th. I guess he had an incident there at the, I know he had an incident there at Lake Holm there. He went off the track, but looks like he's back running and trying to gain up some time.
Couple guys running wide as they make their way through Blanchamont the first time down towards the bus stop. Let's see how the Corvettes fare. Mike Kelly is chasing Todd Carver. It's a battle for second place in the class. You can see Dimas Maulana actually has a nice sizable gap between himself and Carver as they come around to complete lap 1.
Yep, and that's Sam Taylor, new to the... well, I think he's run GTC races before, but definitely not in the LMP, so that's him in the white and black car right there. Mike Young getting past him at a Lake Home. Excuse me, La Source. Definitely La Source hairpin.
And some close action here in the McLaren. It's Colin McLean there in the number 68 McLaren looking to dive on the inside of Troy Harder as they make their way into Los Oros. Troy Harder better on the brakes, so he's going to keep McLean behind him for a couple more corners at least. And up in the Corvettes, we're taking a look at the number 66 of Mike Taylor as they make their way up through a Rouge and Radian down the Kimmel Straight. He's chasing John Kuzin in that number 27 Coast to Coast Racing Corvette.
Okay, so one of the main themes here we didn't really talk about, we didn't have a lot of time at the beginning of the show here as Mike Taylor's making a move is, as you can see here, new cars, new paint schemes for some cars, some of them very, very nice, and some of them, we'll say less nice, and we'll particularly follow that as we go along. So trying to encourage guys to get some of those cars done up. As you can see, that's Daniel Verness there in a kind of white and blue sort of... Sorry, I kind of fell asleep talking about it. It's pretty boring. But, yeah, so hopefully we'll see some of those better cars coming out there. And this is Victor Beltran, new to the HPDs in our series.
And this right here is 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th in the LMPs. That little pack right there.
Yeah, so we've got Ryan Corns leading that pack with Beltran just behind. Matthew Voigt making a return to, or a step up to the LMP class this season. He's running 4th just behind Beltran. And Mike Young trying to make his way up, actually goes around the outside there as they head down towards Blanchamont. That moves him up into 13th place, so he's trying to make a charge back to the front of the field. I think he qualified in 4th position, so he's definitely has some pace, but he's going to lose quite a bit of time as he makes his way through the guys that aren't quite as quick as him.
Well, Mike Young qualified in 4th there. Matthew Voigt somewhere else.
Clark Reed almost lost the back end, but he saved it before he hit the wall. Very nicely done.
Yeah, Clark Reed returned to the series after a short way off there. Not sure exactly where he was. Maybe you can fill us in. We'll report that next broadcast, but he is back. And Julio Facio coming up behind one of the newly painted... that's Anthony Muniz there in the Kaiser Racing machine. So Kaiser Racing actually sporting 2 different paint schemes this year. Myself and Ryan Corns in the LMP, and then Anthony Muniz, Corey Davis, Renee Weisflog, and Andy Fuller, who is unfortunately not in this race, in the McLarens.
And close racing here between Victor Beltran and Mike Young. And Beltran taking a defensive line going into Lake Home. He might have the defensive line, but took it too deep into the corner. Got onto the grass, and that allowed Mike Young to easily take the spot away. That moves Mike Young up into P12.
Yeah, especially here at Spawn. This is a 2-hour race. We got a long way to go, but new car combinations. A lot of guys in new cars, so we're going to see a lot of let's say teething problems here as we go through there. And now we're at Chris Darmon Jr., who, to be fair, Chris traditionally runs the plain white car there, so I can't be too hard on him, but he is right up in the bumper there. Almost bump drafting Russell Cow, who is sporting what looks like a red, blue, and black car of some sort. And Anthony Muniz and Daniel Verness going door to door. Daniel Verness in a not so nicely painted car. Anthony Muniz in a pretty good job that my colleague did with these cars this year. Pretty happy with how they turned out, and side by side. So we'll see if Daniel Verness is able to make a place up there. And there's someone else coming up the middle there. That is someone. Ian Boyd, maybe.
Joe Jr. maybe? Yeah, Joe Jr.
Oh, it is Joe Jr. Okay, so that's Joe Jr. there. So he's not being scored right now because Joe just, I guess, work situation or whatever, joins our servers very late. So there's technical reasons why he's not being scored, but he is in the race, and we'll try to follow him as best we can.
Oh, that's a real bummer.
And close racing here between Ryan Corns and that number 5 Kaiser Racing LMP as Mike Young is trying to work his way back up the field. This is a fight for 11th place in the class. Ryan Corns currently able to hold him off, but Mike Young is on a charge. He's managed to move up, 4 places in the span of a couple laps. And here's a big group of Corvettes right there. That's Tim Stoll leading that group with Todd Carver and Jeremy Burris just behind. Burris going to take a look on the inside of Carver as they head into the Lasource hairpin. Gets it done under braking, and that moves him up into 4th place. You can see Mike Kelly and Dimas Malan have separated themselves from the rest of the field, but some close battling going on deeper in the GT1 class.
Yeah, we're back to Ryan Corns and Mike Young. That was the Red Bull cars there. I know that's Mike Young, Daniel Gralti, and James Vines. Are they a particular team name, or are they just kind of running the Red Bull, or how are we going to call those guys?
I'm not sure if they're actually running a particular team. We'll call them the Red Bull Racing guys, I guess, for now, unless they correct us otherwise.
I was going to go for Team Youngcorn. Oh well.
All right, well now we got James Cullen here. Yes, that's something I didn't mention at the beginning of the program. He had a little problem qualifying. I'm not able to get a clean lap. Very easy to keep putting wheels off on this track and invalidate your qualifying lap. So he's new to the McLaren. He dominated whoa, that was a big slide by Chuck Chambliss. Dominated the LMPs last year in our class, but moving down to the McLaren, so he's moved up to 7th right now. I think 7th. No, wait, where is he? 6th now, he's up to 6th. And he started dead last there in those McLaren, so he's got Colin McLean next on the list, then Troy Harder after that. I gotta say, I like Troy Harder's paint scheme, and Colin McLean's for that matter, but he is around and into the wall. I don't know how the damage on these McLarens work, but that seemed like a relatively hard hit into one of the corners, so let's see if Colin's able to continue.
Yeah, they're fairly sturdy cars, but it's depending on the speed he went into that barrier, that could present some suspension damage and aero damage too. These cars do generate quite a bit of downforce, so we'll have to see how that affects him if he's able to recover from that. We're watching Mike Young from the Red Bull Racing team, still battling with Ryan Corns for that 11th spot in the class. Corns still holding on. You can see Tim McLeish moving up into the LMP just in front of them, so a few cars actually go as they head down towards the Lacombe hair chicane. All pretty close. It's also very close to the McLarens here as Chris Damon Jr. looking on the inside as they head through Blanchimont. Couldn't quite get alongside. Russell Cow drives very wide, exiting Blanchimont, but he's going to have the superior speed heading down into the bus stop, so he's going to maintain the lead for now.
Yeah, Tim McLeish, if you're fans of our series, will recall the few seasons ago, I believe season 6, Tim McLeish and Tim McLeish and Lance Snyder having some pretty good battles there in that car. They are separated right now by a couple cars. Well, one car, Jerry Moorsdorf in particular, but we'll see if that resumes.
And Jeremy Burris almost putting it around. I love these Corvettes because the people just keep swinging those back ends around, catching them. It looks great.
Yeah, the power to, I wouldn't say power to weight, but the power to grip ratio in these cars is pretty much on the side of power, so we'll be seeing a lot of that in these Corvettes.
And that's the number 68 of Colin McLean into the pits. And we'll see if he exits out quickly, whether or not he has to retire. But from the amount of time it took, he did drive it around, so he didn't exit out right off the track.
And Chris Demron Jr. is all over Russell Cow like pepper spray on a protester.
It's a very good analogy.
Best I can come up with right now. Good onboard shot of the McLaren there. We'll go back to point out some things of that new car there in just a second as Colin McLean takes the long, lonely road back to his pit stall, which is a very, very long pit lane here at a very slow speed. It's 60 kilometers an hour, and I think it's like a kilometer long, so...
That sounds about right because it takes about a minute or so to just go through the pit lane without stopping. So very long pit lane here, and it's going to cost Colin quite a bit of time extra added on to that spin. Victor Beltran trying to make a move on the inside of Ryan Corns going into Lacombe. He's going to be able to do it. Seals the pass as he hits the apex on the left-hand turn, and that moves him up into 12th position.
You can see Tim McLeish has transferred his steam whistle car over onto his new car and into the wall. Unfortunately, that was a car we did not meant to turn that way.
No, I think he's okay.
Wow. I wonder if that was really weird. I wonder if that was kind of a graphical glitch and it looked like he went off faster than they did. He definitely got loose there.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he shot off the side.
It looked like he should have been in flames in 1,000 pieces, but he was able to drive away from it, so well done, Tim.
And Jeremy Burr is looking on the inside of Todd Carver, and Todd Carver slowing there at the end of the Kimmel Straight. I wonder if he might have had a bit of a time penalty that he had to give back if he cut the corner at the top of, I guess, what would be Radion.
Yeah, it's very easy to do there in these Corvettes, and the LMPs in particular, it's pretty much easily a flat-out corner there. But as you're going through it right now, you can see if you just went over that curve to the left there, you'd see. But James Cullen right now, all over the back of Troy Harder. And Troy Harder's car is pretty fantastic looking. Him and I did like Colin McLean's car as well.
Yeah, and speaking of Colin McLean, he exited the pits, but just showed him going back in. I suspect that he felt the car out, and after repairs, decided it was too much damage.
No, I think he continued on in the race. I think he's pretty out there, because I do recall seeing him. But, yeah, he's out of the pits.
That's weird. We got two exit notifications. Maybe it was one fault, one fake one.
What is it still on pit lane, pit exit? Pit exit basically is the inside of Eau Rouge and Radion, so I don't know. I assure you he's still in the race. There's Brent Briles in a newly painted and differentiated Webax Racing car there. More yellow on Brent's. There's Jerry Morrisdorf right up ahead. Good comparison right there. More red on that car, as you can see. So, good job for those guys here to help us out, and I appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much.
And looking at Mike Young's Red Bull car as he tries to make his way back through the field, currently running in 10th position. He's battling with the other war car of Jerry Morrisdorf as they make their way through a few McLarens. And looks like they're passing, is that Ian Boyd, I think? Yes, I think that's him. 55, so yeah, that should be him. And close racing here as Young tries to see if he can't find a way past, but Morrisdorf seems to have pretty good pace at the moment, keeping him behind and holding on to that 9th position.
Yeah, this track is really made for this car here. I mean, it's nice, fast flowing, good for high downforce, but also high speeds too, so the LMP is actually running the lowest downforce configuration that they bodywork that they have available, but that being said, the speeds are so high at this track that the downforce produced is still very significant.
And Mike Young finally getting a look on the inside there of Morrisdorf as they head into the final bus stop. Not able to get it done as Morrisdorf was better on the brakes. Looks like Mike Young might be a little bit better coming out of the corner though. Let's see if he can power alongside Morrisdorf holding the inside line as they head down to the source hairpin. And looks like Mike Young's going to be able to get the pass done. You can see Corvette holding very wide there, allowing both those LMPs to drive through. That moves Mike Young up into 9th position.
This is Lake Holmes. We've got James Cullen now coming up to 3rd place man Robin Ainscoe.
I think it's Ainscoe. That sounds right.
Robin can let me know if I've done that wrong. Hopefully I've got Robin right. I feel I'm pretty safe on that one.
Meanwhile, there's been about a 7-second gap built between this battle right here. Ooh, that's Brian Carey squeezing his way through the battle.
I wish we had seen on board for that.
Cullen and Robin Ainscoe as they head down into Poulon. But looks like they were able to get done, and Cullen had the pass done before they made the corner. So all is well. He's probably a little bit frightened by that quick LMP making its way through the middle of those two cars.
Yeah, I know it looked like Robin actually got pretty loose there, and James was able to get alongside him, and I had a massive run in the only space available, because I don't think I had time to stop, was to go up the middle and hope for the best, and luckily that worked out. I apologize to both those guys there. That was not my intention to split them going down that part of the track, but just what happened in that sort of millisecond there, and I had to go for it.
And here's Jim Kelly battling with Brent Briles, and this is a fight for P6 in the LMP2 class. If you're a fan of classic Le Mans cars, I'd go ahead and suggest you look up, forget which, well, I guess you can't really look it up if I don't tell you which year. Ooh, and that looks like Joe Jr. off as they head through Blanchimont, as a couple LMPs go through there, although it wasn't the result of the LMPs. He was wide before they even hit the corner, so it must have been an error on Joe Jr.'s parts. You can see looks like a Corvette also pulling into the pit lane a bit early, so I'm not sure, he might have a bit of damage getting repaired, but a great battle here between Mike Young and Lance Snyder. Just going back, actually I will tell you what car to look up, because that is what John Kelly's LMP is based off of, a classic Le Mans car.
I want to say like a 75 Porsche, but that's just me throwing numbers out of my, well, somewhere. They're coming somewhere. There's Brendan Mercer, new to the series here, another Canadian in a yellow. Sorry, I fell asleep describing that car again. We'll see if we'll get Brendan someone to throw him a paint or something like that, or at least the Canadian, the Maple Leafs on there, so that's good. Oh, look at that. A lot of craziness going on ahead. That looks like Ryan Corns and whoever Ryan Corns is chasing. Some
John
guy.
Kelly, maybe? That was, by the way, Chris Dorsey, another newcomer to the series, who was in that Corvette, that number 45 that entered the pits, and probably took on some damage to be entering this early. It's going to be a very strange strategy to stop with just 18 minutes on the clock.
And we've also gone past the point, too, where I unfortunately and completely unintentionally murdered Karl Lundbauer. So we talked about connection issues before, and going into the corner where there's about 4 cars ahead of me, someone, I didn't see who, and I didn't know if they'd come back or not, had disappeared. So I kind of just slowed down, held my line, and hoped for the best, and then next thing I knew that there was a 4X on my screen, and apparently someone had gone over the fence. So again, Carl, apologies for that. I did not know what was going on there. Hopefully that's the end of my kind of recklessness here this race, but we'll see. And then we've got Mike Young still trying to work on Lance Snyder and not quite being able to get it done.
Mike Young taking a look up the inside going into the bus stop, and that is going to be the pass, so that moves him up into P8 for the LMP2 class. John Kelly not too far up the road, so with the good pace that Young is showing at the moment, he should be catching up to him pretty soon, I would imagine. Here's a great onboard shot of Stephen Clark running in 11th in the GT1 class, and I believe that is Mike Taylor just in front. Yes, it is. Number 66, Mike Taylor.
And that was a little bit bizarre. It looked like he was closing in very rapidly and then, I don't know, leapt off the gas or something?
Well, yeah, it's just going into Lake Holm there or whatever, unless you're right alongside. I mean, the draft, I think, on the Corvette is a lot more severe than it is for other cars here. So you're going to get a big run going down Lake Holm there, and if you're not close enough, you don't want to go in there braking super hard with way more speed in case you lock a brake and end up into the back of someone else. So
No,
I would anticipate
he just
people
seemed a little
showing
bit far away to be doing that, but yeah, extra cautious. Nothing wrong with that, I suppose.
better to look slightly silly going too slow into a corner as opposed to going massively silly going underneath someone. So that's another neat looking car there on Matthew Voigt, the 25 there, very colorfully painted. Another classic Porsche paint scheme. More side-by-side racing with Anthony Muniz and Daniel Verness. It's possible they've gone side-by-side for the last 3 laps. Or more.
And close racing up at the front of the McLaren class once again. Dan Brown Jr. looking to go around the outside, follow that LMP through as ahead, down through. Oh, and a little bit of a pinch there for Muscle Cow, and he's going to hold on to the position, first place in the class. Really great close racing here. Dan Brown going to try and look up the inside, can't quite do it. But it's super close here and very competitive in the top of the McLarens at the moment.
Oh, Brian Corn's getting blocked pretty badly by James Collin there. Not blocked intentionally, just got caught up in the wrong part of the track for Matthew Voigt to now be battling with him. So Matthew Voigt didn't have to slow up nearly as much to get around that corner. He's all over the back of Ryan Corn, but it's so twisty here, it's kind of hard. You're going to have to make your pass after Blanchimont here. And I don't think he's got the momentum still to dive up the inside.
Back to Verness, right on the tail of Anthony Muniz. And they are going to be breaking into the bus stop in just a moment. It looks like Anthony will hold onto it for a moment, but Daniel Verness looks like he was a little bit late on the braking and probably lost a little bit of time on Anthony there.
A little closer there for the McLaren GT3 leader,
Oh,
Russell
damn
Cow,
right.
and that loss of momentum going through El Rouge cost him first place. I believe that was Victor Beltran making the pass in the HPD, and that cost Russell Cow the lead. Chris Dameron Jr. now holding that position.
Oh, James Vines, his first LMP race, running very well up in 5th position right now. Running better a second ago, and now in 6th position. Brent Bryle's getting past him there, so James, I don't want to say anything right now just in case his car bursts into flames, but we're off him, so probably nothing exciting happening with him, and he can carry on. Daniel Burness chasing Anthony Muniz down through turn 11, I guess. Down into Pouan here. Let's see how fast he's... you can see the steering wheel there, the kind of newly modeled McLaren. It's new for the iRacing series here, and it's pretty modern, so a lot of the iRacing, I say modern, iRacing technology, graphical updates, things that are adjustable in the car, that sort of thing. It's very good to see from the outside and the inside. A little nicer when your car is painted in more than 2 colors. But you can actually see when they adjust things like brake balance and whatnot in the car, the dials move, steering wheel physics look a little bit better. It's a very nicely put together car and a lot of fun to drive too. And the racing seems to be pretty awesome as this is a battle for the lead.
Indeed it is, yeah. Russell Cow gets a nice run out of the bus stop as they head down towards the final hairpin. Not going to be able to do it unless he can stick it around the outside. Very brave under braking. And see, not going to be able to get the power down off of the corner as they head down towards Eau Rouge. But again, Russell Cow lost the position when he had to give a little bit of space for a HPD coming through at that corner right there. But hasn't fallen back to Dameron Jr. as they head now down Kimmel Straight.
On board our Kaiser Racing colleague Corey Davis here. He's in 5th position right now, all over the back of Troy Harder. You can see a nice smooth run through Eau Rouge there. He's pretty close. The drafting on this car isn't severe, but it's definitely enough that it's better to have it than not. So let's see if I don't think he's close enough to make a move, but he's definitely pressuring Troy Harder, who's blinking in and out, and we'll see if he can make the move here actually.
He's going to take a little peek up the inside as they head down into Lake Combe. Not going to be able to get it done. Harder better under the brakes, but you can see the draft does affect the McLaren, though. There's quite a bit of downforce elements on this car. And so, you did see him pull right back up, but right up to the back of Harder's car, but it wasn't quite enough to pull him past. So you will have to work for your position. It's not just going to be the draft right on past, but a lot of good racing here. See Julio Placio just behind that group as well. So let's just about a 3-way battle. That's a Corvette off there at the bus stop as we watch James Mines make a way through. Ooh. Okay, just barely holds on to that one. Gets a big spot of oversteer exiting the bus stop and manages to keep it out of the wall, though. Looks like his teammate, Mike Young, was able to get by him at some point, so that moved Young up into P6. And, well, something happened to Russell Cow because he is way off the leader now and falling into the clutches of James Collin. About 4 seconds separating first and second place in GT3. So some sort of mistake cost him quite a bit of time and couldn't be a position because James Collin's on a charge. He's close to gap by about 3 seconds last time I've looked, which was maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago. So also here's a good battle in the Corvettes. Chuck Chambliss chasing down John Kuzlin. It's a battle for 8th place.
Yeah, we got Chuck Chambliss here coming up behind John Kuzlin there. Very impressed with again, the paint scheme there of Chuck's car. The golf anything, it just looks cool. So now we have who's that? Oh, Dimas Milana there. He's the leader of the Corvettes with Mike Kelly right behind him as they're coming around the 60-something of some guy. Oh, he spun. And there I go right past with a... Okay, so that's the lead gone for Dimas, but he didn't hit anything, so an hour and 33 minutes left. No problem for him. He has the pace, but he's down to 3rd place right now. Let's see what he can do.
And James Cullen taking a little peek up on the inside of Russell Kyle as they head down into Lake Combe. And Kyle's still able to hold him off. These guys, we'll have to see what the pace that James Cullen has in the McLaren, as Brian pointed out at the top of the program. Cullen very dominant last season. He's pretty much dominant in just about every season he's participated in the GTC. So we'll see if that continues in the McLaren. Some close racing here with Chambliss and Kuzlin, as Lance Snyder is trying to sneak his way through this Corvette battle. And Chambliss is right on that back bumper of Kuzlin's number 27 Corvette. Loses a little bit of time as he lifts for Blanchimont. But battle very close, and looks like he's pretty good under braking, closing a bit of distance between himself and Kuzlin. Kuzlin making a mistake in the braking zone for the final bus stop. Chuck Chambliss going to take a look around the outside, gets it done, able to get the power down, exiting the corner, and that moves Chuck Chambliss up into P8 for GT1. That was a well-executed maneuver by Chuck Chambliss to take advantage of Kuzlin's mistake.
Okay, Tim McLeish, the delicious steam whistle car there. He's chasing down Jerry Moorsdorf, it looks like. So there's a battle for 10th position in the LMPs, intermixed with a battle for 8th position there in the Corvettes.
And jumping on board quickly with James Cullen as they head down into the bus stop, as he's continuing to fight with Russell Kyle for that second position in GT3. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of traffic around right now to separate this battle, so it's going to come down to pure driver's pace at the moment as Cullen tries to find a way past. The gap between P1 and P2 is about 3 seconds, so that's coming down just a bit. Oh, back to John Kelly's car. So I looked it up. It's a Martini Racing Porsche 917, that this is the classic paint scheme. So if you go ahead and look that up, you can see the original car. He's battling with James Myers very closely here for 7th place in class. You can see they're tangling with a couple of GT cars as well as we jump back to the battle in GT3 for 2nd place. You can see actually Chris Damron Jr. just at the bottom of the shot there, so not a whole lot of distance separating the two drivers. And Cullen going to look on the inside, and Russell Kyle better under braking as they head into Lake Combe, so he's going to hold on to that 2nd position for a few more corners at least.
I get to see Dimas Milana here. He's 6 seconds behind the leader Mike Kelly, but Tim Stoll in the pits. So that's first pit stop there for the Corvettes. I don't know, was there damage for Tim? I didn't see that.
I didn't see it either, but I guess that could be pit strategy playing part of it. In fact, it looks like another Corvette in as well. So I know that it's going to be a 2-stop race for these guys, right? So could be he's just taking...
yeah, because Lauren Bateman in the pits as well there, so...
Yep.
And those very confusing lines there that just want to take you back onto the track. You got to drive over the white line there, and very difficult pit lane to go through. But yeah, no, I don't really know Corvette strategy. LMP strategy, I have a good idea. And McLaren strategy, I think we have a pretty good idea. But this looks like this is no damage outwardly on that car. Very, very slow pit lane, like I said, very long. So we'll see how that plays out. Just past the 1/4 mark here.
And for GT, you can see this is Lauren Bateman here. He's taking a pit stop, so it looks like he might be on the same pit strategy that Tim Stoll is on as well. Looks like Dimas Milana didn't lose too much time with that spin that he had a lap or two ago. He's about 5.5 seconds back from overall GT1 leader Mike Kelly. So could have been much worse. Go on board with Mike Young as he tries to fight his way through the LMP field, making his way past some GT1 traffic. He's got Brett Browse just in front of him, and that looks like the Corvette of Dimas Milana just in front. So close racing here. You can see Brent Browse not able to get through until they exit that corner, and now it's going to be a drag down towards Blanchimont. Mike Young really not going to have the speed advantage. He's going to try and use the draft, but probably not going to have a chance until possibly they head down into the bus stop. Let's see what kind of run he gets out of Blanchimont. He's gaining. He's going to take a peek up on the inside as they break into the bus stop. He looks like he's alongside, but we're not going to see it because these guys are fighting for second place in class, and Russell Cow's going to lose out to Cullen as they exited the I believe that's Malmedy. Russell Cow diving to the outside there as they head through Riviage, and not going to be able to get it done. Cullen's going to be up into P2.
All right, now back Corey Davis here, chasing down Troy Harder. These guys have been battling for quite some time. One of those things here, if you're at equal speed in this McLaren, it looks like it's really hard to get a run. You have to force someone into a mistake or offline, and looked like James Cullen was able to do that. John Kuzlin trying to tame the beast that is that Corvette powering out of that chicane there. Looks like Chuck Chambliss had an issue powering out of the chicane, and Kuzlin might get him here. I don't know if he cut the corner or not. Now Ryan Corns and Victor Beltran battling around Todd Carver in the number 40 Corvette. A lot of action happening all over the place here.
And Beltran taking a defensive line as they head down into Lake Combe, and Corn's really not in a position to take advantage of the Corvette or overall better top speed heading down towards that corner, but Beltran still just wanting to defend his position. Riding on the front nose, Russell Cow now as they head down towards the bus stop. Really good under brakes, maybe a little too good taps to the back of James Cullen as they head down into the bus stop.
Dr. Cow. We all know what that means now. Who was it last time? Because Julio passed it off to someone.
He did, and I don't remember who it was.
It's with Russell now, so congratulations. You'll be receiving your personalized license plate in the mail. License plate may not actually exist.
And on board with Corey Davis, he's fighting with Troy Harder. He got a good run into La Source, wasn't able to get the power down. Looks like that might be James Mines making his way through.
Oh, it's Dan Gralty.
Air Rouge. Oh, is it Gralty? Okay. I still have to learn. They are a little bit different. I know Young is all blue in the front, and Mines might be red on the top roll bars, I think. But
there may be some difference of some
maybe,
sort.
Yeah. Corey Davis has a great run as they head down into Lake Combe, though. But Troy Harder, better under braking, holds the outside and holds that position. And this is a fight for fourth place in class. Corey Davis all over that back bumper of that Fanatec-sponsored McLaren. But Troy Harder doing a good job holding Corey Davis off for the moment.
You know, I'm thinking we could make a little booby prize where whoever is the current proctologist gets Ass Man on the back of his car.
Or just in the captioning, if we could do that.
That is possible.
There we go. Anyways, that'll be a surprise for next week. To be honest, like we've got James Mines there, so look at that. Just the yellow nose, red rear wheel. He's got the total there. I don't know if everyone else does.
Yeah, the difference is going to be blue, the roll bars, I think. Blue for Young, red for Mines, and gray, I believe, for Young. So
yeah, our press packets are still in the mail, so we don't have those right now. Just like to point out that James Cullen is now 3.5 seconds behind leader Chris Dermont Jr. in the McLarens. Dimas Milana is still about that same 5.5, 6 seconds behind Mike Kelly. And me, Brian Carrier, is about 23.5 seconds behind Wyatt Foster in the lead of the LMPs. Very excited to have Wyatt in our division again this year. I sort of know what his car looks like. I think there's a rear wing and some wheels, and that's pretty much it.
And here's a... go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just going to say Snyder and Morsdorf, and it looks like Snyder's going to hold Jerry off for a couple more corners.
Yeah, this is actually almost a 4-way or 5-way battle. Actually, there's 3 cars. We're on board with Ryan Corns at the back of the LMP train here, and he's fighting with Victor Beltran just in front, who is just behind Tim McLeish. And there's a Corvette there. Ooh, Corns getting good under braking, diving towards the outside there of Victor Beltran. I think they were a little bit early because of the Corvette that's separating those guys, and just caught them out a little bit. But also on board with John Kelly, who's a little bit further up from that group we were watching. And he's battling with James Mines. Gets a nice run coming out of Air Rouge, gets a bit of draft. He's going to be looking on the inside, heading into the Holmes corner. Not going to be able to do it. There's also a Corvette up there, which he might be able to use to his advantage. Ooh, it catches James Mines out just a little bit. Not quite expecting. The Corvettes are quite slow through the corners. They're about the same speed, or even maybe a bit slower in some cases than the McLaren. So it does take some getting used to for these drivers, but they get past that Corvette without any major dramas.
And actually, I was going to mention to Tim there that I'd actually seen the Steam Whistle. They have their company cars driving around making deliveries or sales reps and whatnot. Actually, a new one that I saw there actually had a white on the top of the car with the green stripes down the middle, mostly green on the outside, and then on the back of the car they had a nice big red maple leaf, which I thought was kind of a neat scheme that maybe I can find a picture I can show him and see. But the one he has on there is actually very good because it looks exactly like the case of beer, which is the most important part of the whole product. Well, the beer itself, I guess, would be the most important part, but you know what I'm saying.
And really close racing here between Mines and Kelly. Oh, we're going to jump away from that to on board with Dan Gralty. Looks like he's must be getting past. Yeah. Indeed it was. Yeah, I think that was Ryan Huff that was getting past him as Gralty makes his first pit stop.
You can see how painfully slow it is to meander through the pits.
Yes, when you're belting around at 250 kph or so, to go down to 60 is quite agonizing, especially when there's cars buzzing past you every second or so.
Yeah, ask me about that in 50 minutes.
And I believe we've got Mike Kelly in the pits, since we have Joe McBullis noted for close racing with him.
Oh, and big spin at the top of Radeon. Oh, and that looks like... Wow.
The Damron, or is that Verness?
I think that was Verness. I think there was a bit of blue or something on the side there. And that allows Victor Beltran
Verness is dropping back.
All I can say for sure, that was a car. So yes, as Dan mentioned, Verness looks like he's dropping back, but in real life, oh man.
Exactly. That was very close for Beltran, but he managed to stay in the power. I think he caught a bit of grass, but it allowed him to power past Tim McLeish. He was a bit held up. Oh, and that's a Corvette off. Yeah, Stephen Clark, good call there, Brian. And that's going to catch a few cars out until he can get that turned around until he can find a gap to get that car turned around. And he's still sitting there, actually. Now, these cars, iRacing doesn't allow us to stall them. So he's not sitting there stalled out, and just needs to try and get that off of the racing line, because that is where cars like to track out.
Yeah, it looks like he saved the car itself. Oh, there's Mike Kelly in for his pit stop, so that's so definitely 2 stops for those Corvettes there. I believe the McLarens, for the most part, can make it on 1 stop. I don't know if that's universal or not, but I know if you make a little bit of an effort, that's possible. LMPs are definitely 2 stops, and it looks like the Corvettes are also definitely 2 stops. And there's Ryan Corns and his return to competitive racing here, going down the inside of Matthew Voigt, not quite getting it. But this is his first experience with the new generation of LMP. A very different animal from the one he drove a few seasons ago. I believe season 6 was his last season with us.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the Corvettes don't yet have the new sound pack, right?
No, a lot of cars don't, actually.
Okay, but they're slated to be next, I think.
Yeah, the iRacing has done a really good job with their new generations of sounds. For those of you in the service, try the V8 supercar in particular. It sounds magical.
And Corey Davis having to really slow. Oh, and the top of Radeon. Oh. And that was a heavy impact. You're going quite fast through there. Got a little caught up. Ooh, that's
entire track to go around.
Yeah, that is
you have to pull that off.
heavy damage to that the McLaren.
Oh, your pain, Anthony.
Oh.
Your beautiful car. I think Corey just got unsighted by an LMP coming past there, and unfortunately you get, at that speed, you get on top of some of those curves there at top of Eau Rouge, and that's what happens, and unfortunately it happens at a very high rate of speed. Luckily Corey not actually in that car, sitting in his home in, I believe, North Carolina, if I recall correctly.
And Mike Taylor entering into the pit lane. Can see it's a bit awkward there.
Someone tell him he can go fast in this section. You don't have to slow until you reach the cones, Mike.
It looks like he did hit the pit limiter as soon as he got in between the two walls, I think. So luckily no one was behind him looking
Unless he's running out of gas.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, he's pitting fairly late in the Corvette, it looks like, so that could
Luckily
be.
the rest of the pit lane is downhill from there, so you can you can coast back to your pits.
I'd be surprised. I mean, we are only 43 minutes in, so he should have plenty of fuel left. Unless he took a light load, I suppose.
And we are looking at...
We're watching the wall. And Mike Young is behind the wall.
Good stylistic shot of the out of focus cars going by, so that's a pretty cool camera effect there. Okay, so yeah, Mike Young, blue. James Vines, the yellow on the nose, and then Dan Gralty, I don't know if we ever see him again. Where did Dan Gralty go anyway? Oh, I guess he must have made his pit stop, and therefore is out of the top 12.
Yeah, he's way out.
Waiting for service. There's something else moving at a... There's Mike Young after half an hour in the pit lane. He is finally coming out. I think, yep.
Alright, well at least he knows when to turn the pit speed limiter off.
So just out of curiosity, the pace car there is driven by a computer, yet when it comes into the pit lane, it can be controlled. It comes in at like a 30-degree angle towards the pit wall.
Yes.
It also drove through the pit wall too, so I don't know what I'm complaining about. But
we have a very special safety car for iRacing.
It's Kimmy on his off days.
Yes, that's who it is. You guessed it.
By the way, I gotta share it with anyone out there who wants to request it there or has seen it already. But Kimmy explained to a television presenter how to drive on snow. It is classic, epic Kimmy.
It was, yep. Oh, just do what you want, I don't care.
It's like I crashed. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Meanwhile, on track, it's a rare look at Brian Carey as he's making his way past a couple of Corvettes who are battling for 5th place in class. Brian.
Much better line there for Chuck Chambliss, and he's alongside John Kuzlin. Is he going to make the pass entering Buhon? He is, sending John Kuzlin wide.
And that was very well executed. You can see he's just a little bit later on the brakes, got his nose on the inside to make Kuzlin give him a bit of room and able to get that done. That's a very high-speed section of the circuit. I'm pretty sure those Corvettes are fighting on the limit of grip right there. So well done to make that pass work there, Chuck. And that moves him up into P5. See some close racing here in the LMPs, but also close racing at the top of the GT3 McLarens. Chris Amron Jr. is still the leader of that class, but Cullen has dropped the gap to about 1.5 seconds. So, yeah, there he is. So he's got more yellow in his car. Yep. All right, and he is he is in 13th, but he was running
third before his pit stop. So.
And his car looks, like it just drove out of the shop, so no visual damage that we can see. So I'm guessing there was no major incidents. Maybe he did have a spin that cost him a bit of time that we didn't see. Seems to be all over the back of Matthew Voigt, though, as they battle for 12th place in class. You can see Ryan Corns also pretty close to that as they make their way through the leading McLarens. Peralta having a bit of a peek there on the inside of Matthew Voigt that head down towards Blanchimont. Couldn't get alongside to make that move stick, and going to stay behind him for a little bit longer. Is a bit of a mess there. I'm kind of wondering what we're missing because there was the top McLarens in that area too, so I wonder how they got through. Looks like everyone's okay.
And we are left to wonder.
We are.
So it's Brennan Mercer and Mike Taylor there battling it out. I think Brennan's from the same neighborhood as Tim McLeish. Well, not neighborhood, but same area of the country, roughly. A few towns over, perhaps. Just outside of Toronto, and then we've got a car. Who's that? John Kelly? Not John.
Kuzlin. Yep.
I'm just like, don't say the wrong one. Don't say the wrong one.
And Kuzlin exiting the pits in 9th place. And he is well ahead of Mike Taylor, who we were just watching. So he is currently safe. Back to the battle between Gralty and Voigt, and they're still the same, so they were able to get through the leaders of the McLarens all right. But Gralty going into the inside of Voigt in through Riviage, now heading through the, not really named, but some people call it Speaker's Corner.
Would that be Malmedy?
No, Malmedy is the one after Lacombe.
Oh.
So that corner doesn't actually have a name, but... because I've heard some commentators call it Speaker's Corner because you can see that corner, and I think it's La Source from their commentary box, so that's why.
Okay.
Ooh, and close racing between Jerry Morsdorf and Tim McLeish. Morsdorf going very wide off the circuit to get around. I believe that's Ian Boyd in the McLaren. Maintains his speed and his position over McLeish. Bit of a scare moment there for him, though, as he dives wide to avoid any contact.
Whoa, a little bit of squirreliness there. There's very, it's kind of hard to see from that camera angle, but the pavement really does, the camber of the pavement changes and falls away, and you really have to take kind of a bizarre line through there. Otherwise, if you go over the crest of the corner there, you can get loose, just as you saw there at Tim McLeish.
And you can see there isn't much of a gap now between the leader of the McLarens. Chris Dameron Jr. still holding on. I mean, it gets a bit of a awkward situation there between himself and Ryan Corns in the LMP. But really about half a second separating first and seconds in GT3. So it's taken Cullen roughly 50 minutes to go from the back of the McLaren field to just about the front. So he definitely has good pace, but Dameron currently just about matching his speed and holding on to that lead as Dimas Maulana enters the pits lane from first place. I'm guessing from the splits he's going to lose that. Jeremy Burris is gaining very rapidly and now gets by, so Dimas Maulana is going to lose a couple places. Hey, look we haven't seen him maybe once so far this race. It's Wyatt Foster. He's making his first pit stop from the lead of the McLarens, the LMPs. You can see that one light on the side pod of his car means he's in the lead. Brian Carey actually now goes past. You can see the second one turns on, so Brian Carey leads a lap and gains a bonus point.
I like points. There's Demas. He's entered, I believe it was on Tuesday there, he'd entered the pits, so he's finally getting around to his pit stall. Really cool camera shot on board Tim McLeish there, going through Blanchimont now. And Jerry Morsdorf. Little arrow wash there through Blanchimont. not enough of a run to get around here. Let's see if we can use this McLaren to get a pick. No, McLaren decides to take a different line. And people are entering and exiting the pits like crazy. With 30 cars into the pits just now. Oh, Tim entered, Jerry entered, and Victor Beltran entered. So they are nose to tail right now. James Mine's not too far up the road, and Dan Gralty is passing them left, right, and center as well.
And those guys nearly made it 1 hour. You can see we're just about at the halfway mark. So the pit strategy for the LMP looks to be pretty close, but unless you're doing some fairly heavy fuel conservation, doesn't look like you're going to be able to make it. As Brian pointed out, it's mostly going to be, most likely rather, going to be 2 stops for that. Looks like a bit of
stops.
Yeah, exactly. Following on board with Tim McLeish, you better watch out! Ow!
Oh, Tim, why did you do that?
And
look at his car is crushed. Look at his steering wheel.
Yep. And that is a broken front left suspension, because I don't know if he was maybe adjusting how much fuel he was going to take or something, but unfortunate. He's having a good race, but hate to see mistakes like that.
Yeah, I think Lance Snyder said he did that last year at this race. It's very easy to do, and very easy to do at the entrance of the pit stop as well, as I've heard, apparently. There's Todd Carver. You don't see much of him. It's you can recognize the sponsor in his car, but slightly different colors than we used to see him running there. Well, same colors, I guess, just much more black-centric this year.
Yeah, and he's actually running in first place. Well, he will be scored in first place in just a moment, as a couple other cars are making their stops. Yeah, there it is. Officially first place. Jeremy Burris in the pit lane, scored in third at the moment.
I have a feeling for Jeremy that the Corvette is more his style of car here. He runs fast in all the cars that he has, but he seems like he's well, I don't want to jinx him. I probably jinx him. He's probably going to run into the stairs there. But seems like he's handling this Corvette pretty consistently so far.
And Lance Snyder into the pit lane, returning in the LMP for Season 10.
Brian Carey out of the pits in 90 seconds. And that tracks with the roughly 1 minute of driving through the pits, around about a 30-second pit stop.
Oh, this is a huge battle for the lead here. James Collin and Chris Darmon Jr. Now, these guys need to save a little bit of fuel to get to the halfway point to make it on one stop, but when you're battling for the lead like that, hard to know when to lift sometimes. So let's see how those guys can do there.
And if they were modeled, Lance Snyder would be running over countless crew members of other teams by driving through the
air
pit
jacks,
there.
pit equipment, reporters, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, and that's Colin on the inside exiting the source. It's going to be close, but looks like he's got the speed. Demro Jr. basically giving him a bump draft down towards Eau Rouge, but that's Colin into the lead of the McLarens. He's done it in 55 minutes.
Very well done there. Now Brent Briles, who is current race leader right now, is entering the pits. Yay, that was close.
Ooh.
And now he brings the slow trek down to... Like seriously, this track is so fast, and even when you're going through the source, you're not going 60 kilometers an hour. You're so fast the entire time, and literally you have a break, eat a sandwich, make some phone calls, catch up with some emails, and then you hit your pit stop, and then the real action happens.
And is Chambliss crabbing? His car crabbing right now?
It did look like he was sneaking over to the right. Let's see, we got another 7 seconds on him before we get a shot of him as he comes out. Yeah, that's not looking right.
Looks like he might have some front left damage, possibly.
Yeah.
Something looks off to me. It just doesn't look quite right.
Well, hopefully he's just crabbing and he doesn't, have,
yes.
that would not be good. unfortunate result to the end of his race. Not something that iRacing intended.
And on board the Corvette of Mike Kelly, he's currently running in 4th place. He has a long 8 seconds or so up to 3rd place Dimas Maulana, so not really in a battle. But here's Mike Young. He's going to be racing Brent Morales, who's just exited the pit lane. He's going to have better speed on him, and that moves Mike Young up into 4th place. Looks like Victor Beltran just in front, but he's not racing with them. I'm assuming he's a lap down. Can't quite see because he's not on our time scoring, unfortunately, but definitely not racing with those 2 other cars. Oh, and we're looking at Chuck
Exciting
Chambliss.
shot of Chuck Chambliss, yes. Look how fast those cars go by.
Oh man.
So yeah, he's crews filling it up with fuel, checking for damage and see if his car was really crabbing.
Our director gives us information on how long we're staying with this shot, and if you guys need to go to the washroom or take a break, you might want to do that right now, because we're going to be with this for a little bit.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what, he must have had damage that he's spending so much time in the pits.
yeah, we can just imagine the crew over there trying to fix that suspension, pull out the bodywork, put some black tape on it.
Do you think they serve drinks up there in the timing tower there? I think there must be like a suite or something. Like I see like a launcher up top there. Like
That'd be pretty good. That'd be a pretty good seat, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be so awesome. Oh, Rouge, you can see it right there. There I go. I just drove by. I waved past his.
Hey, Chuck.
So, saw something really cool. There's an app for the Android. I don't know if it's out for iOS as well, but it's from McLaren. And what it is you print out this nice side, top, and front view of the McLaren P1, and then you point the camera at it with this app running, and it does this augmented reality thing where it makes a 3D McLaren P1 that you can like rotate the picture or the phone and zoom in and see. You can do a cutaway version. It's really very cool. Best use of augmented reality I've seen so far.
Oh, there we go, back on track.
Now, if only I could afford one of those cars.
Yes. I'd be good with one of these if I could afford those as well. They just sound so nice. And drive so fast. Anyways, Christian Ron Jr. not letting James Collin go at all. And they did not pit this time, which means essentially they're free to go if they can make it this far. Next time they come around will be after the half distance mark, and so I guess officially pit window is now open for the McLarens. Well, for these guys anyway. Another 53 seconds, I guess, till it officially opens.
Yeah, for the rest of the races, the McLaren will be limited on fuel, I think down to 90%.
Yeah, spoiler alert for this race, it wasn't even close if it was going to be a one-stop. I think I ran just about 70 minutes or so before I made my pit stop, and I pitted with a bunch of other McLarens as well, so it was easy one-stop for us.
Alright, fair enough. Trying to get some drama in there for fuel saving, but
yeah, well, that's why I waited until it was halfway until we knew, so we were good.
And then just pulled the rug right out from everyone. Now everyone's sitting there sad, going, "Oh, I was."
Well,
fooled."
if everyone made it this far, then it wasn't really a surprise anymore.
By the way, if you've watched this entire thing to this far straight, then thank you very much for joining us. This is it's definitely fun to do. So those of us, most of us who are racing in this, but there happens to be anyone out there that is not part of ISRA right now and has watched the entire up to this point, please comment down below there in the old YouTube, as we like to call it in the industry, and on the webpage, I guess.
Does this get posted on a webpage? Oh, well, Facebook, I guess.
Yeah, YouTube's a webpage. The website.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, you confused me for a second. It's been an hour. Normally, we're about done at this point, so everybody
wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So I apologize, folks. We stayed with this point. It's been good so far, but it will go downhill from here.
Did you see the puff of smoke there from Damron's tires?
Yes, that was a very nice drift he had there through Blanchimont.
This car responds. There,
Oh,
James.
and Cullen into the pits. He says, it's halfway, I'm going to get some new tires.
Entering the pits.
Okay, well now here's where it does get exciting because they're placed so highly. You should see Cullen, if not Cullen exiting the pits, then at least Damron exiting the pits and see where they end up in a relationship to each other.
Yes, because they were basically nose to tail when Cullen entered, so that'll be interesting to see who's better in the pit lane. Looks like, because Damron stayed out at least another lap, he'll be able to take a little bit less fuel. So maybe that works to its advantage. We'll see. Meanwhile, we had a nice onboard shot for a couple laps there as Russell Cow was in the pit lane, and he's pitting from third, I believe. But we had a nice couple onboard laps there with Ryan Huff as he was chasing down Brent Briles, and that's well, it's not really a fight right now, but it could be a fight for P5.
Actually, after having watched a video on YouTube of some random crash compilations from 2012, just various series, I think it'd be a neat feature on this for various on-track incidents, because you don't want to, physically assault anyone, and we're not physically near anyone anyway, but to have like little, avatar guys come out and just, beat the crap out of each other every so often for on-track incidents. Very cartoon-like, if you will. And by cartoon-like, I mean exactly like how Nelson Piquet tried to fight Eliseo Salazar back in 1982 or 1983 in Germany. One of the most ridiculous punch kicks I've ever seen. So if you guys at home want to look that up, Piquet Salazar fight.
And here's a good battle with as we go back on board with Ryan Huff's LMP2 car, and he's managed to really close the gap between himself and Brent Briles. You can see that is Dimas Maulana and the Corvette there separating those two drivers. And Maulana is currently in third place, so he's doing pretty well. He's about 4.5 seconds back from Timothy Stoll, who is on a bit of a different pit strategy than most of the other Corvettes. I believe Lauren Bateman also pitted at the same time Stoll did, and he's currently running in 7th.
I think we're getting up to like about 285 kilometers an hour going down into the bus stop here, around 290 going down to Lake Holmes. So the LMPs are pretty darn quick here in this configuration. It's good to be able to run low downforce a lot of these things against this Corvette, because the Corvette's big advantage is top speed, but I think the LMP actually has it here anyway, so passing isn't as difficult. And there's our friend, the pit wall. Hey, there's Tug Carver. He was behind the wall. There are some other cars on the track right now.
And Dimas Maulana going to go past, and that moves him up into second place. Not sure if Todd Carver if that's his only pit stop, then he looks like he's found a way to make a one-stop strategy work.
Perhaps, yes.
There you go, Brian. There's more pit strategy drama for you.
Drama. We need some really kind of intense music whenever we start talking about pit strategy.
We'll add that in post.
Like Jaws-esque.
Yeah. And meanwhile, actually, this is the fight out of pit lane for James Cullen and Chris Damron Jr. And looks like still don't see Damron. There he is. So he's currently shown dropping down to about 1.8, 1.9, about 2 seconds back from Cullen. So despite staying out an extra lap. Cullen is going to maintain the lead and actually increase the gap by just a little bit. As
James
we
was
see,
able to go on fresh tires earlier, so he'll have a bit of an advantage that way.
And Todd Carver now going to be, he exited the pits and he's going to be fighting with Lauren Bateman. And like I said just a little bit earlier, Bateman's on a bit of a different pit strategy along with Timothy Stoll, who's currently leading the GT1 class. So we'll have to see how that plays out later on. Right now these guys are fighting for 6th place in class, and there's Daniel Verness, who that spin, you can see the damage on the front of his car when he spun on the top of the Rouge.
Alright, so what do we got here? I don't know what I'm looking at right now. I just know Anthony and Daniel are battling there. I was trying to look for some other good information to follow it up with, and I had nothing. So you can see Chuck Chambliss back into the fight after his epic pit stop. That was
yes.
You know what? If you want to rewind that and save that, and probably see that in the news highlights anyway, because that was pretty crazy. But right now we're just at the point now where we're just watching guys and pit stops are being made, and I think, yeah, Mike Kelly's in the pits. Okay, so that's what's happening here. I was wondering where we're just seeing Jeremy drive around, but he's going to be passing Mike Kelly in the pits. Those guys are teammates, I believe, still, and Turn 1 Heroes. Jeremy just doesn't have an updated Turn 1 Heroes paint there. It's a nice looking game. Having trouble describing it. I keep nodding off there, but iRacing paint, not like Matthew Voigt's car. Holy man, that is colorful. That being said, Turn 1 Heroes showed up last year with other cars painted in what only can be described as epileptic-inducing,
yes, with
terrible barfness, checkered optical illusion, whatever that was. It was not good.
Yeah, I think didn't it have a hidden swastika sort of in it too.
It's possible.
I think I remember that from the last commentary we did here.
Hidden or not so hidden.
But yeah, hidden, not so hidden, sort of in there, kind of. And well, we're taking a look at Mike, or not Mike. That's who we're watching right now, who's on screen, but. Brent Browse and Ryan Hoff are still continuing the battle, but it looks like Brent Browse now entering into the pit lane, so that should be, well, probably his final stop. I know the HPDs can go about 15 minutes or so it could be his final stop unless he's doing a couple shorter stints, in which case he'll need to pit one more time. As Verness makes what I think is going to be his second pit stop now. Well, maybe not.
It's a certain number of pit stops he's made.
Yes, he's made some. One for sure, because he's making it right now. We're watching Ryan Corns, who's a nice helicopter shot as they head down through these sweeping bends. He's chasing Matthew Voigt, who we can't quite see on screen right now, but he's not too far up the road. About a second and a half or so. And here is James Mines, and he is running in, where is he? I lost him there to 7th place, so he's having a solid first race in the HPD.
It's the, wait, this is a front engine car, right? So this is the Mafia camera.
It is.
Yeah, this would be sweet. Probably a lot more spacious back there too.
I was going to say the vet has plenty of room back there.
Yeah, you could pack a lunch or whatever. Just got a hole there. Probably want like a radio or something like that to get sort of updates, so you're just not limited to what you're seeing out of the back of your your hole there. And yeah, make a day of it. Kidnapped at the track.
And Brent Browse exits the pits in 12th place, and that yellow shows me, or tells me that was Daniel Gralty just in front of him that gets past, I think. And some close racing here in the Corvettes. John Kuzlin just in front of Mike Kelly. And these guys are fighting it out for, as we ride on board with John Kuzlin, they're fighting it out for 7th place. And Timothy Stoll, as Mike Kelly makes a nice outbraking maneuver going into Lake Combe, moves him up into the 7th. Timothy Stoll, who was leading this GT1 class and who is also off sequence forward from the rest of the cars, has made his what should be final pit stop. He's dropped into 2nd place currently, so we'll have to see where he comes out at.
Alright, so have to get myself a beverage or something like that to we got 48 minutes left here, so alright, as John Kuzla powers through Poulan and Timothy Stoll's in the pits here, I'm going to take a short break to get something because I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, and anyways, that's enough of that. I will be right back.
Are you sure you picked a really exciting time to leave? We got Tim Stoll in the pits for what will certainly be his last pit stop. And we're going to jump over, though, to John Kuzlin and Mike Kelly. And there's someone else ahead of him as well in that white Corvette. Oh, back to Timothy Stoll because he's getting passed in the pits.
Yeah, it looks like Jeremy Burris has gotten past. Also, Kenny Coughlin, who we haven't really seen a whole lot of him pass, but so far this race. But he gets past. Todd Carver also gets past, and Timothy Stoll currently exits in 5th place, and with Lauren Bateman in the pit lane behind him. Looks like that 5th place is where he'll stay for the moment. Back on board with John Kuzlin now as he looks to try and chase down Mike Kelly.
Got me some water. Still following John Kuzlin.
We did break away for just a moment, but you didn't miss much. Oh, and it's our friend the Wall. Who's behind the wall? Oh, it's Chris Dorsey. And he's got Ryan Huff just behind him as well. So these guys making the slow move down to the endurance pits to make their final pit stops. Chris Dorsey, a newcomer to the GTC, so welcome. He's currently running fairly well, currently in 10th place, although he's going to lose a couple spots. Looks like he might have had a bit of a incident somewhere on the track. He's lost 2 laps, I think. Yeah, 2 laps. It says 3, but I think that's just because he's in the pit lane. So 2 laps down, I believe, right now, so not really fighting for the lead of the GT1, but 10th place is nothing to be laughed at, especially with the strength of field that we get here at the GTC. A lot of these guys very fast, very consistent drivers, so finishing races here is even if you just can finish a race, a lot of times that won't necessarily get you very far up the field. So as we go now to some actual racing on track, Ryan Corns in that number 5 LMP is chasing down Matthew Voigt still. These guys are fighting out for a top 10 in class, actually P10 in LMP2, to ride on board the front nose of Corns very briefly as they head down Kimmel Straight.
Just so we know we have it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, you have an onboard. Guess what? We're not going to use it. So we're going to be following Ryan here for a little bit. So this is just all your Ryan Corns fans out there. You're welcome. Actually, I'd like to point out that Ryan might have to take a few weeks off in the next little bit, as he has apparently reproduced, so, or will be shortly, and time will be set to that. So we'll have.
Yeah, I don't think it's happened quite yet, but
no,
very soon.
Could be any time, but I think a couple weeks from now. He promised me not till after Interlagos, so.
Okay.
Nelly, if you're watching this with him, I'm holding you to that.
And the Corvette of Jeremy Burris separating the battle between Corns and Voigt as they head through Blanchimont. And Corns much better under braking as they head into the chicane. And manages to make up a bit of the gap there as they head down towards Les Sources. And because, I guess, just a bit of info on, since we aren't really watching a whole lot, except these guys drive around the Great Circuit Spa-Francorchamps. A little bit of team info. Since we have the Kaiser Rennsport has grown quite a bit in the last couple seasons, we've got enough drivers where we have to almost split up the team into sub-teams, I guess, if you will, as we ride on the back of Matthew Voigt's HPD. So we've got in the LMP, not as many drivers, but we've got the black car of Brian Carey and the white car of Ryan Corns, which matches up with our GT3 entries. 2 black McLarens and 2 white McLarens, just to kind of almost split the because we don't want to have 4 white cars or 4 black cars all in the same class. That just makes it a little more confusing for when we have to do these broadcasts. So we've got all the black cars under the Kaiser Rennsport Team Atlantic, and the white cars under Kaiser Rennsport Team Wolf. So just for a little bit of insight, since you probably won't see the actual branding on the cars as it's quite small, but little extra info there as we watch Jerry Morsdorf, and we've seen actually quite a bit of Jerry so far this race, which is always good. They've got nice cars to look at. Morsdorf running in 7th with Ryan Huff not too far behind. I think we did just catch him in that last shot exiting the chicane, so that could become a battle at some point. But it's actually pretty close now between Corns and Voigt as these guys battle out for a top 10 spot in LMP2. Corns very, very close now to the back of Matthew Voigt as they power their way down towards Eau Rouge.
I was kind of hoping we'd be able to go on board here at through Eau Rouge in these cars, but actually that's a really good shot right there from the chopper to go through there. Very, very fast corner. I keep talking about it a lot, but it's massively fun to drive and fun to watch. Speaking of random videos, I know there's a video out there, some photographer or whatever just had a video, and I think it was from 2009 or 2010, at the bottom of Eau Rouge from a camera station just pointing up at Eau Rouge as the F1 cars come flying by. It sounds and looks fantastic. You really get a sense of the speed there. So Dan Gralty making his last stop, the first of the front runners in the LMPs to be pitting.
Now back with the battle between Corns and Voigt as they make their way through a bit of GT traffic. That is Lauren Bateman in the number 1 Corvette. And Todd Carver and Timothy Stoll here in a battle. Stoll currently trying to chase down and close the gap between himself and Carver. Gap about 2 seconds at the moment. And Stoll has made his final pit stop. You can see, actually, that's a good shot right there to point out just how good the McLaren is through the corners. Looks like James Cullen was probably held up a little bit there by Tim Stoll as they made their way through Malmedy. And the Corvette is pretty much only better than the McLaren in a straight line just because of the extra power that it has.
Oh, that's Ian Boyd, and he's off backwards. Don't hit anything. Hopefully no one's coming. Oh, he got out of the way, rolled back nicely, finds some space, and there he goes. So good for Ian. Is this Ian's run with us before, has he not?
I believe
Yes, he has.
Ford GTs?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
And he's having a solid race in the McLarens. He's running in 8th spot at the moment.
Could have done without that, but still solid nonetheless.
Well, he's got plenty of gap between himself and Daniel Verness, so yeah, he did lose, what, probably 10-15 seconds to Robin Ainscough ahead of him, but even then, you know, there was a 20-second gap there to begin with. He's pretty much on his own.
Alright, Tim Stahl here. Where's fifth right now? Let's see here.
Yeah, he's got Carver just in front of by about 2 seconds, so he's trying to chase that down. I think they've both made their pit stops, so that is an actual battle for the position.
Alright, so, okay. LMP's Mike Young in the pits right now, so just give it a little bit here because the final pit stops for the LMPs should take place any time now. Obviously, the McLarens have all pitted, so that should be it to the end of the race. Unfortunately, Russell Cow has dropped back about 25 seconds off the lead here. James Cullen about 3.5 ahead of Damron Jr., Troy Harder 4th, Julio Palacio in 5th, and Anthony Muniz in 6th at the moment. These guys here looks like I think they're pretty much all pitted, but we'll wait and see. I think a few of those guys might not have done their final stops yet. LMPs definitely have not.
And we're getting a battle here between Morsdorf and Ryan Huff. These guys are fighting for 7th place in the LMP class. And both being shown a lap down, so I'm guessing that means that's because they've made stops already, and Wyatt Foster hasn't.
That's actually a pretty good shot here. It's not on board to see the steering wheel, but you really get a good sense of speed as we're coming past Ian Boyd. Oh, pass made. Wow. I think. Be able to pull off the apex here. I think so. I think he was just running wide there.
It was definitely a good use of traffic there. Morsdorf got held up behind the Corvette as they went through Speaker's Corner. Ryan Huff did not had a great run. There was space between the two cars from the go. He put his car through and that moves him up a spot. So well done there. Probably a bit of a mistake by Morsdorf to not kind of fill up that gap and not allow that pass to be made. But that was good on Ryan Huff to see. Yep, that is a HPD-sized hole there, and I'm going to put my car through and get a spot up on Morsdorf. So well done there. And now Timothy Stoll has really closed the gap on Todd Carver now as these guys battle it out for 4th place. Going to take a little look as they head through Lacombe. Not going to be able to do it. Carver better on the brakes in that Corvette. So he's going to hold off. But it looks like Stoll has managed to close the 2 seconds within maybe 3 laps. So that should be a pretty good battle. I'll have to see how that plays out. Meanwhile, Ryan Korn still chasing... a little late on the brakes there. He's going to be a bit offline as he heads through that chicane. But he's still trying to fight with Matthew Voigt for that. Well, actually, it's now 9th place in class. So someone has either pitted or had a incident on track. So they've moved up a position.
Ryan Corns is getting a lot of airtime today, that is for sure. So, and actually, I don't know if Anthony's mentioned the difference in the two colors there, the two teams. Oh my God, it's Team Wolf, and what's the other one?
The black cars are Team Atlantic.
Oh, that's me. I'm in Team Atlantic, and Ryan's Team Wolf there. But like I say, it's I don't know what it is, but here, like I say, I've been trying to harp on some of these guys here for updating their paint schemes. We had such high quality paint schemes last year, and it really does add to the realism and the immersion. And when you have a good field of cars there, and especially your own, I mean, it doesn't make me drive any faster, but I definitely feel a higher level of, I guess, driver satisfaction when I'm driving around. And Anthony did an awesome job with the car this year. Last year's car was pretty good, but this year's car is definitely a step or two above that. And this is Tim Stahl's car from a number of seasons ago. Not quite updated. I don't know if they have anything in the works or not. I know they've been talking about it in the forums a little bit, but normally the Turn 1 Heroes guys have some pretty good cars. They've steadily improved over the years. I think that's Tim mentioned it was Dylan Schmidt that did that for them. I don't know if he always does that for them, but that's who does the cars there. Matthew Boyd, I think, did that himself. Initially,
right
he spelled Sunoco wrong, unfortunately. That was a awkward moment for our nuclear physicist. But I guess we really don't need to spell doing what they're doing. And then who are the other teams? Like Marty Jeffries also, whatever he drives and the guys that he runs with, always good paints there too. So I think, Anthony, you've done John Kelly, but is there any others that you've had your hand in there?
Nope, I've done... And Matthew Voigt, so much oversteer coming out of the chicane and saves it. That was a great save, nearly put it into the tires. that was a tank slapper if I ever saw one.
Merry Christmas, Ryan Corns.
Yeah, that moves him up into 9th place now, and that was he was fighting with him for a long time, and that was a great opportunity for him to take advantage of that mistake, moves him up. But excellent job there by Matthew Voigt for saving that car. He nearly lost it a couple times, so good job.
Way not to die, Matthew.
Just back to your question, Brian. I've done a couple cars for John. I've done John's helmet, which I actually don't think you can see in this broadcast. But so far, he's the only one that I've done anything for apart from our cars. But
oh yeah, his helmet. I've seen that because he has it uploaded to Charting Paints. That's one thing. Our cars here too. We have there's a new Charting Paints program, which many of you are aware of. It's a good program to use when you're joining a server here. Unfortunately, not everyone who runs ISRA uses Charting Paints, so. If you're using Trading Paints and you run the series, you really have to remember to go back and download our car pack before you jump into our server to make sure they have the GTC paints on. But that being said, Trading Paints does have a helmet feature, which our server does not. So I do have John's helmet, and a number of other people too that have helmets there. That also does help identify guys and adds a nice little touch to the simulation.
Also,
asked me about that and just never sent it to me. I'll have to put him on it. Oh, still going a little wide there.
You know what? That's a legit line back in the old F1 days. It used to be the two lines. You'd watch cars either take the curb and hug around or just swing right around to the wall and one get a higher exit. I mean, they both seem to be equally fast. It's kind of interesting to see. Unfortunately, I think Tim Stahl got a 1X for that.
It's also can be quite slippery out there. I'm not sure if it's because it's the tarmac is Carver gets a bit of an oversteer as he heads through Lake Holm there, but I'm not sure if it's the tarmac is modeled differently than the race surface or what, but it can get quite slippery. It's definitely not just, or if it's because there's no rubber laid down.
That's definitely slippery. Stoll there went way wide of the paint, and I honestly have no idea what it's like out there.
And this is actually becoming a three-way battle at the moment. That in that yellow number 24, I believe it is, Corvette is Kenny Coughlin, and this is a battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th now. Coughlin might be on a different pit strategy. I'm not actually sure. We know for sure that Stoll is done. I believe Carver is done as well, depending on what happens. He pitted around 50 minutes or so. So he might be trying to make a one-step work, but I'm unsure of Coughlin, so we'll have to see how that works out.
He is Scottish, but Scottish descent, I guess, but I'm just wondering if he is a Jeff Gordon fan, being the 24 and with DuPont all over his car.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
Otherwise, it's just weird. So I assume he is.
Now, 12 hours of Sebring coming up this weekend. Oh, wow. And it looks like Kenny gets by.
Well, that's this weekend?
Yeah, it is. Same with the F1.
Oh, yeah? Well, I definitely know about the F1, so that's awesome. Yay, racing.
And the Corvette racing team will still be running the C6. But I expect, so now the other news, although it'll probably be out by the time this video is up, is that there's the announcement on the future of the Grand Am Le Mans LMS merger, and that's happening on the 14th. And so we'll find out what the story is there. Hopefully we'll see the C7 racing next year, because I'm really excited to see that car out on the track where it belongs.
Oh, nice move by Tim Stoller getting the inside column. They're running side by side there, so that was a good racing by both those guys there. But as far as real life racing there, if they can get rid of those ugly Daytona prototypes and replace them with something more good, then oh no, Todd Carver off the track. It's a dirt. Oh, heads up.
Oh, wow. And Coughlin back up at the front of this battle now.
I don't know who I'm saying heads up to because they can't hear me, but man, they're side by side. This is actually getting exciting all of a sudden. And then there's Matthew. No, wait, who is that? Mike
James
Young?
Mines right behind them.
Is it James Mines?
Yep, and Mike Young just behind. Oh,
no.
Contact between Stoll and Carver.
And they got
both
through it all
saved
right.
Yeah.
That was close. That's Pouillon is a fairly high-speed corner, even in these Corvettes. So very risky. It looks like Stoll's a little bit offline as they head through those corners, and Carver's going to try and get around, but not going to be able to do it. Meanwhile, Kenny Coughlin, because of that, the contact between Carver and Stoll, managed to open up about 3 seconds and give himself a bit of breathing room between these two guys. There's the two Red Bulls. That's James Mines in front of his teammate Mike Young. And these guys are actually battling for position. Mike Young's going to dive on the inside, going to the chicane, and he's going to make Mike Young, maybe not going to give the position. Let's see where Mike Young comes back on. Okay, he did go run wide, but he's able to get the power down, and that moves Young up into 4th place.
Oh, here we go. Number 79 in the pits, and yep, at this point my suspension is bent off the car. So well done, idiot. I mean me.
He pulled the same width as Tim McLeish, a little too ambitious. Well, sort of like Tim McLeish. Yeah, a little too ambitious going into the pit entrance, and bent you didn't hit it. You didn't hit it like you hit it at a weird angle, so it bent the suspension, right?
It was there's Todd Carver kind of weird off the track there, but no, it was the entry to the pits and the camber change going through the chicane there, because you kind of have to, where you normally turn to the left, you end up kind of have to just keep going to the right a little bit. The tail kicked out just a little bit to the left. I corrected it, but I ended up off the track slightly at a very slow speed, but there's a little kind of bit of the armco that juts out there, and I just caught it with my rear tire, I got a 0x, I didn't even do anything, but I basically destroyed my car. Whereas earlier I had sent Carl Mumbauer over a fence, and my car was fine, so...
Oh, that's Wyatt Foster diving up the inside of those two McLarens there. Foster has a very comfortable lead at the moment. Ooh, and it's close, a little
oversteer for a little bit of a challenge there.
Yeah, I guess so. Unfortunately, that suspension damage to Kerry's car means he'll have to retire. Oh, contact there between Harder and that Corvette of Lauren Bateman. Looks like Harder got the worst of it. And was it?
I don't know. The angle was weird there.
I believe it was Harder, because he's fallen back now. And looks like he got the worst of it. Bateman able to continue on without really too much of an issue there. So now the closest driver to Wyatt Foster is Daniel Gralty, currently running P2, and he is 2 minutes and 3 seconds back, so no challenge there whatsoever. But challenge right there for
held up,
and that you saw how Matthew Voigt was really able to pull under the back wing. It looks like some damage there for Jeremy Burris. And he is running in 3rd place. Not sure if he's pitting because of that damage or not. It could be his pit strategy to pit now, but he's definitely going to lose out on a few positions. Oh, Troy Harder hard into the wall, exiting speaker corner, and massive damage on the front of that McLaren. Going to spin it around. Oh, damage on the rear as well.
I would suggest that he went into the wall a little harder.
Oh, I
think that's the first time we've made fun of his name, so good job on us for holding up so long.
I'm sorry, I don't want to make light of Troy's there because that's, as I just pointed out, it is very discouraging to run a very good race up to that point in a damaged car. I think he's still able to run, but his car looked pretty damaged. But yeah, we won't. I'll try to. I promise, Troy. I'll try not to do that again. Not cool, Brian. Not cool. Oh, this is a battle, folks. This is really, really fun to watch. These guys have raced in our league for quite some time, so they kind of know how each other operate, and they're able to run very close to each other. I know there was a little contact before, but it was slight, and they're able to continue on. And man, those headlights are really orange, or yellow, aren't they?
Yep, that is something that you don't see in all GT racing. That's specifically to the ACO reg cars, the ones that always run at Le Mans. And the WEC, all the GT cars have yellow, so you can differentiate between prototype cars, like the nice and bright LEDs that are on the Audis and like the Rebellion Racing cars, and then whatever might be a GT car.
Yeah, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? I really don't get a good sense of the lights there as you're running these cars.
Do we have I think we have a night race this season, don't we? So we might we'll get to see it then. Oh, and Trey Harder into the pit lane, so you can see bent suspension there as he's got the wheel cocked to the left, trying to get that car to drive straight. So it's going to... well, it's already dropped him one position. He's probably going to lose one, maybe two more. Yeah, that's Robin Ainscoe going by at the moment. So he's fallen down to 7th, unfortunately, because he was having such a great opening race here at Spa, and to lose it with about 23 minutes left in the race is disheartening. But back into GT1, it's really close between Stoll and Carver. Carver making a cut back on the inside, going down towards Lacombe. Not going to really have the momentum. See if he can do out braking. Nope, Stoll much better under braking, and he's going to hold on to that 3rd place.
Now those guys are trying hard. There's the Ryan Corns and Matthew Voigt show. And I say show, you see little it says pit limit 60. Man, that's discouraging. And I should really fix that pit part there too. There's really no need for the concrete to be sticking out like that, just ready to grab someone. Be a Tim Cleach's nightmares.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why it's modeled like that, but it currently is that way. Still at the real Spa Francorchamps, just like it. Something, if you've watched a race at Spa recently, you'll notice that Lacombe now no longer has the grass there at the it's all tarmac and speed humps. It was Ryan Corns. You see, losing lots of time to Matthew Voigt, who came in behind him in the pit lane. So it looks like Corns possibly made a mistake there with his fuel and lost quite a bit of time. That might have been there, a little mix-up, and that's cost him quite a bit.
It's one thing, when you see these cars by themselves, the Corvettes by themselves, they really do look like quick machines. It's only when you see in comparison to the LMPs that they start to look a little slower.
And you can see Kenny Coughlin still just in front, actually on board with Tim Stoll now, so we can see Coughlin going up at Rouge right now through Radian and down on the Kimmel Straight. So Stoll's managed to close the gap by about a second or so to Coughlin. He's 1.8 seconds behind, with Todd Carver just about the same distance behind him. So battle's kind of broken up a little bit at the moment, but these guys are fighting it out for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. And we're down to just under 20 minutes left in the race. And with the exception of Dimas Maulana, these guys in the GT1 class have kept the racing very close all the way down to the end. I also should just point out, in the Mclaren GT3 class, James Cullen really, unless he's just managing a gap, he hasn't been able to pull much of a gap over him. 2nd place, which is currently being held by Chris Damron, and he's about 3.6 seconds back. So like I said, unless Cullen is managing the gap and just bringing it home nice and easy, not showing nearly as much dominance as he has in previous seasons.
That is a big bug on that windshield there. I don't know what he hit, but that was nasty. Look at that thing.
We should have seen. Oh, as Toll's gonna, Timothy Stoll gonna
Distracted by that
overshoot
bug.
Yeah, he was. He was wondering the same thing you were. What was that?
We're glad he's on the inside of the car. You don't want that coming at you while you're sitting there having a picnic.
Yeah, he's probably very happy that that's a close cockpit. Oh, and Carver trying his best to close the gap between himself and Timothy Stoll. He's got it down to under a second now. And the other not 4GT, we're talking about last season. The other Corvette that's just in front of this 3-pet group would be John Kuzlund, but he's not fighting with these guys. He's down in 8th place, a lap down from these guys fighting for essentially 2nd place in GT1. So they'll be looking to go by. Oh, and that is Mike Kelly with heavy damage on his Corvette. Heavy damage all around, it looks like, and that's probably going to be the end of his race with 17 minutes left in the spot 2 hours. Very unfortunate. And you can see how badly that car is crabbing as he tries to make it down to his pit box.
No question needed there, like we had with Chuck. That car is messed up.
Yeah.
He just needs an alignment, guys. No problem.
Yeah, it's an alignment of the Earth.
Oh, and look at this. Now, Timothy Stoll closing the gap to Kenny Coughlin here as he gets his way up in closer to the 2nd place position. Carver falling a bit back now as looks like Brent Browse is making his way through this Corvette field. Ooh, and looked like almost there was contact there between those two guys, but they both get through without too much issues. Ooh, and Coughlin very, very wide heading through Blanchemont and allowed more than enough space for Browse to get through without any issue. Well, it looks like they're almost nose to tail now as they come out of the chicane down towards La Source.
It's another real-life racing sort of tidbit, if you recall from the recent Grand Am race at the Circuit of the Americas, that the Corvette in that race damaged its suspension just going over curbs, and sometimes people sort of cry foul on iRacing for making the car sensitive to that sort of thing, but it does happen in real life. So
yeah, not only are the Daytona prototypes ugly, they break easily too. So.
Well, no, that was a real Corvette. That was the real Corvette. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Boris said driving that. Oh, Timothy Stoll looks like he bumped there.
Timothy Stoll battling Kenny Coughlin, and Todd Carver took advantage. Tim was not ready for that, and wow, that was. But he's exiting the pits. It doesn't matter. It's Ryan Huff. I'm good to see Ryan Huff, but there's a 3-wide battle. Let's go. I'm sure it's still awesome. Anyways, Todd Carver is taking 3rd place. He's still behind Kenny Coughlin. Timothy Stoll. Hey, here we are. There we go. This is what we wanted. Oh, this is intense right now. I think if we're correct that Kenny Coughlin had to save fuel in this race, so he's still trying hard to hold off. But now Todd Carver, and there's some trees there, and Tim Stoll. Oh, he's wide. Wow, this is actually, just let the pictures speak for themselves here. This is a battle for 2nd position. Kenny Coughlin, Todd Carver, Timothy Stoll, all separated by less than a second.
And they also will most likely... Ooh, as Carver's going to try and go around the outside.
Of
He's
Stavel?
not able to get it done.
Oh, he is. Look at
Oh,
that.
he is able to. It took him 2 corners, but he's able to get it done on the outside both times. Stoll's going to try now and take advantage of the slower Kenny Coughlin as they head down towards Blanchimont. Not going to get the room. Wow, that was a great move by Carver to move himself up into second place.
If you do a search of the dictionary for outside pass at Stavlo, you will not find anything, because I don't think that's ever happened, but that was an awesome pass. Don't know why that'd be in the dictionary, I guess, but oh, there's Anthony Muniz there. That's Todd Carver. He's trying not to get involved in this battle, but the battle is coming to him.
Yeah, that was...
oh, there's Kenny Coughlin to the pits. Oh, and Todd Stoll. What stuff happening?
Yeah, actually, he came from off the track there. I'm not sure if he made that pass off circuit. Do we have rules on that if you make pass off the circuit or not? I don't know.
Well, I don't know, because Todd got a little loose there, so...
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, from my perspective, since I was like trying my best not to get in the way, Kuzlin was coming by to lap, and I forgot how awful these Corvettes are under braking compared to the McLaren. So he kind of got alongside me halfway through the final chicane, and I didn't want to run into him. It was all kind of awkward, and I just through the source, I just pulled way out of the way and let these guys go since they're battling for a top spot. But all sorts of awkward that I really didn't want to be involved in here late in the race. But Carver's going to try and fight his way back through here. Unfortunately, kind of lost out because of the mix-up with myself and John Kuzlin, who is still somehow in front of these guys. Looks like Kenny Coughlin wasn't able to save enough fuel, or didn't think he was going to be saving enough fuel. Had to pit quickly to get a little bit more to be able to make it to the end of the race. So he's going to be dropped down to 4th, now 5th, as Jeremy Burris makes a pass. It looks like, I think he's going to be passed anyways. It's going to be a little close, but Burris is going to be out in front. So Kenny Coughlin losing 2 spots because of that pit stop.
Here we go, right down to the... this is a podium. They're both on the podium right now, and we got some LMPs coming through. I believe that's James Mines there in the 84. Running in 5th position right now, top 5 in his first race. Not bad there.
When he gets stuck on the outside going into the final chicane there, that's going to hold up both those drivers. Todd Carver's going to try and take advantage of the slower Stoll as they exit the final chicane. Looks like he gets a pretty decent run coming out of the corner. He's going to be looking on the inside, heading down into La Source. He's going to be alongside. It's going to be the last of the late breakers into the corner. Carver looks like he's later on the brakes. He's got the inside line. Stoll able to keep it along the outside so far.
Oh, they went side to side.
And Carver manages to get the power down coming out of the corner, and he moves himself back up into 2nd position.
Let's see, Timothy Stollier is going to have his run up the hill towards Lake Holm. Let's see if he's able to do anything with that. As Lance Snyder there is kind of in a... well, he's only 4 and a bit seconds out of 5th place.
I'm going to close oversteer moment there for Stoll as they head through Lake Holm. Loses some time to Todd Carver up there in 2nd place. Lance Snyder, who's in the LMP, making the pass through right now. He does need to, he can't just sit back and wait for these guys to finish their battle. He is still roughly 2 seconds in front of Ryan Hoff, and those guys are going to be fighting for position, so he needs to get by as quickly as possible, otherwise he's going to risk losing that spot to Ryan Hoff. And meanwhile, Kenny Coughlin is going to try his best to fight his way back up another position. He's chasing down Jeremy Burris right now in 4th place. So Coughlin, of course, having to make that late pit stop and lost out a spot to Burris. And it looks like Burris is doing just fine despite that damage that we saw on his nose earlier. Looks like his crew's managed to bang that out a little bit. Doesn't look quite as bad as it did before. So here's a close battle right here, coming down under 10 minutes now. Carver's managed to get close to a second over Stoll at the moment. And Coughlin's slowly closing the gap. Contact between Carver and John Kuzlin. Kuzlin, of course, not racing these guys he really needs to try and get out of the way. Carver's going to try and dive along the inside. It's not going to be able to make the pass on John Kuzlin. Almost lost the spot there to Stoll as he got on the inside. Oh, Stoll gets over here, exiting the chicane. That's going to give Todd Carver quite a bit of breathing room. And let's see if John Kuzlin almost acts like he's racing these guys, but he definitely isn't. He's down in 7th position.
Kenny Coughlin is still trying to run down Jeremy Burris. Now battle for point. Oh, there's Ryan Foster there. Holy jeez.
Wow.
Okay. That's cool.
Nearly giving the race to Dan Gralty, who's a minute back or so from Foster, and with 8 minutes left in the race.
I think this is why it's, at least in a while anyway, first time in the fast class, so just going at it, I guess. Now, would you guys search in the dictionary for outside pass at Stavelo or in the encyclopedia? Probably like an encyclopedia of some sort.
Yes, that's what I would. That's where I would start.
Well, you'd probably start on the internet too. But if we were to have the internet,
okay, yes,
if this wasn't happening,
touche.
This is iRacing. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this. Maybe I've been talking for 2 hours at this point now, and I've gone a little bit round the bend.
It looks like Jeremy Burris has a pretty good pace at the moment. He's opened up a bit of a gap to himself and Kenny Coughlin, but over 1.5 seconds now, so not a whole lot of threat there. And Daniel Verness catching the inside curb there, going into Lake Combe, and spins it. I don't think he's in danger of losing anything. Oh, actually he is. He's got Colin McLean, who's
18 seconds behind.
Yeah, so he does need to get moving. Probably he shouldn't lose a position because of that spin, but he needs to get his car back and around for the final 7 minutes left in the race. Here's Jerry Morsdorf, actually a last-minute battle starting to develop here between Morsdorf and Matthew Voigt. This is a fight for 8th place in the class. Morsdorf taking a peek there on the inside as they head towards Blanchimont. Couldn't keep the momentum up. Let's see how he does through Blanchimont. Not nearly close enough to try and make a move going into the final chicane, but he's got a few more laps that he can do it, and he's managed to close the gap right up on the back of Voigt. So let's see how he does once he's there, if he can make a pass in the final laps of the Spa 2 hours. And on board with Ryan Huff, pointed out earlier that Lance Snyder did need to keep going and not get held up behind traffic, but that's exactly what's happening to him right now. Ryan Huff is basically on the back of Lance Snyder. These guys are fighting it out for 6th place in the class, and you can see Huff is now right under the rear wing of Snyder, who got held up there behind Chuck Chambliss in that Corvette GT1. And we've got a couple battles now in LMP that are shaping up in these final laps. Meanwhile, that fight between Todd Carver and Timothy Stoll that was lasting for quite a long time in the GT1 Corvettes has pretty much ended. With 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the race, not that many laps remain, and there's over 4 seconds separating those two. Meanwhile, there is nothing separating these two that are on screen right now. Ryan Huff's going to take a look up on the inside, try and force Lance Snyder wide as they head down towards Blanchimont. He's still alongside. Let's see if he can keep the momentum up. He forces Lance Snyder to brake as they head through Blanchimont. Gets the pass done. He's going to have the momentum heading down towards the chicane, and so he's going to take a little peek there on the inside, but not nearly close enough to make a move. So that moves Ryan Huff up into 6th place with 5 minutes left in the race.
And so Ryan's actually got about just under 9 seconds to James Mines, so I don't think that's a gap that he can close down in the last 5 minutes here. Hey, there's Colin McLean. He's not dead.
And actually, look at this. That was the gap that we were just talking about with Daniel Verness. We didn't think it was going to be a factor, but now it looks like Colin McLean's really, really close that up. I'm not sure if Verness had another drama somewhere on the track, but under a second now. So we've got a couple last-minute battles here. And 4 minutes left. We should have, 2 laps left in the race, maybe?
Yeah, 3 probably, because Wyatt Foster there is running about that, so they'll finish this lap and then 2 more. Or something along those lines.
And both of these McLaren drivers fighting a bit of damage to their cars. So it's a battle of the wounded, I guess you could say there. Meanwhile, Jerry Morsdorf is trying his best to get past Matthew Voigt. These guys fighting for 8th place.
And for those of you who know anything about flags, Colin McLean, you can see, is obviously from Wales. Clearly.
Yes, he is. Yes, that's definitely where he's from.
Yeah.
Ooh, and Kenny Coughlin managed to get the gap between himself and Jeremy Burris to be just about nothing. Burris held up a little bit there by that McLaren of 48 of Robin Ainscoe, or 46 rather, of Robin Ainscoe. And Coughlin now with just a couple laps left in the race has about half a second separating himself and Burris. Burris doing a pretty good job so far this in race. I think he's switching down from the LMP from last season, so he's down in the middle class now. But like Brian said, he seems to do quite well in the Corvette, and he's having a solid race so far.
Let's see what Jerry can do with Matthew Voigt here. We got Timothy Stoll up in the Corvette up ahead. They're able to get by there. But Jerry Morsdorf has a run. I don't know if it's enough to get alongside going to Blanchemont. No, he's kind of backing off a little bit. He's going to try to get his run out of Blanchemont there. So he's timed it. He's back on the gas, full throttle. Run through here. He's not timed it very well, but I mean, it looks like he will have a shot at him, though. Not here, but soon. Oh, and out of nowhere came someone. Who was that?
That was Mike Young there in the Red Bull HPD. He's not racing with these guys. He is in 3rd place, so basically going to be putting a lap on these guys if he passes. So he's really not involved in what these guys are doing. Oh, Matthew Voigt having a bit of a braking issue there going through.
Jerry pinched off his exit there, though, so he didn't get the run that he could have taken advantage of that.
Yep, that was an opportunity for Moisart to get a nice run heading down towards a Rouge, but we've got the white flag out now, so that came out just after these guys finished their lap, so I think they should have one more.
They'll have 2 more, this lap and then 1 more.
2 more, yeah, so this lap and 1 more, yep.
Getting mesmerized by the pretty colors of Matthew Voigt's LMP there. Coming up to Todd Carver, who is pulled out about a 5-second gap over Timothy Stoll, but still about 26 seconds behind race leader Dimas Milana, who recovered nicely from that spin we saw earlier at Stavolo there. It looked like it had cost him earlier, but with Mike Kelly dropping out and various other things happening, he's done very, very well in his debut in the Corvette here in ISRA.
And this is a battle here for 8th place in GT1. Brennan Mercer, excuse me, fighting with Chuck Chambliss, and that's the McLaren of Julio Palacio, I believe. So probably don't think he's not really close to anyone at the moment, so he's just kind of finishing out the race. But these 2 guys in the Corvette going to be looking. Oh, Chambliss going very wide, actually. Poulon, does that give Mercer a chance to get by? Indeed it does, yeah. Chambliss backing way off into that corner, so Mercer up into 8th place.
There we go, so... Wait, well, I wonder if the race will be over for these guys. No, wait, never mind. It's not. I am talking out of whatever, so we'll have 1 more lap to battle it out. But the race is over for someone any second now, as it looks like...
It's over for some people.
For Tim Stoll.
No, not yet.
It said he finished.
We're waiting for White... There, okay, now it's over. So everyone behind him will finish. Tim Stoll will be the last man on the lead lap, or on that lap. John Kuzlin comes home in 7th position. There we go. Jerry knows this is it. Oh, very hard braking into the Rivage. That section of the track is named very weirdly.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, Rivage, Roussel.
Hey.
I think I've heard too.
Anthony Muniz, colleague here, coming home in 5th position, so not bad race. Very, very deep field, that McLaren field. Ryan Corns coming home in... Well, we didn't see that. We know he dropped off in the battle area. He's done in 10th position, but ouch.
Yeah,
what in God's name did you do to the car?
We'll be taking a little pay cut after this race to help fix that.
Yeah, the irony is my car looked perfectly fine, except the suspension was bent, whereas Ryan was able to finish the race with a car that was crushed in half like a pop can.
Well, he may have had a meatball, but you've got a couple laps to take your pit stop. And I'm guessing that
James
Cullen winning. James Cullen winning the class. Chris Durham Jr. coming in 2nd.
And we haven't had Demas come across the line yet. Very nice result for Lance Snyder in 7th position there. And there's Colin McLean, Demas, anywhere, somewhere.
He's still there somewhere.
Oh, Daniel Verness is dead.
So this is
there's
his
Demas
last
right
race.
there.
We won't see. Oh, there he is. Yep. So good finish for him and his debut for
Lauren
GT1.
Bateman, but Demas is in the red car behind him there.
Yeah.
The class winner, Lauren Bateman, who finished 6th.
And the GT3's the McLaren top 10.
Dan.
Filling it out. Yes, so Wyatt Foster takes it home with Daniel Giralty following in 2nd, Mike Young in 3rd, Brent Browse 4th, James Mines 5th, Ryan Huff 6th, Lance Snyder 7th, Matthew Boyd 8th, Jeremy Morse-North 9th, and Brian Carey 10th. And of course, this is our first race. Next race, we're going to have the drop week factored in, so you have to see how that works out with the points. Dimas Milana winning in the Corvette. Todd Carver following 2nd. Timothy Stahl 3rd. Jeremy Murs 4th. Nicely done. Kenny Coughlin 5th. Lauren Bateman 6th. John Kuzin 7th. Brenton Mercer 8th. Chuck Chambliss 9th. And Mike Kelly 10th. And finally, in the McLaren, James Cullen with the win with Chris Damron Jr., what was it, like 8 seconds behind him.
Yeah,
Russell Cow 3rd. Julio Pasio 4th. Anthony Muniz 5th. Good job. Robin Ainscoe, there we go, 6th. Daniel Verness 7th. Colin McLean 8th. Troy Harder 9th. And Ian Boyd taking home the 10th spot. Well, people actually kept it pretty entertaining through the whole thing. And we can see the schedule here. We've got Spa under the belt. Silverstone's coming up next, although that was raced last night. The bloody Interlagos that they've named far too long a name to fit on the schedule is next. Then Suzuka, VIR, Sebring, April 15th. Road Atlanta is our 2nd Enduro on the 23rd. And Watkins Glen, I'm not sure. I think that's the boot configuration. And then the other two we'll read off when we get
the
closer
classic
to them.
boot, actually.
Oh,
Going
that's
San
gonna be
Chicane.
exciting.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a fantastic start to the season there. Teething pains of the new cars are slowly being worked out. Silverstone will be another kettle of fish there because that's a LMPs are able to get by the Corvettes here with their low downforce, but Silverstone for a lot of cars will be medium downforce, so that might pose a few more challenges there, so we'll see how that works out. But otherwise, looking like Season 10 is going to be one of the... it's going to be improving on our ISRA GTC.
Yeah,
so Dan, tell them how to join.
Well, sure. You can head over to ISRAleague.com and you can join up as long as you're a clean driver. We want you racing with us. You can join as a fill the grid driver, which basically means you are not guaranteed a spot. Nicely done, James! In this car, finally. He has found
I know.
his donut car. Yes. So yes, fill the grid drivers are not guaranteed a spot, but the password is emailed out to you at 9 p.m. Eastern before qualifying. You can join up and race. And of course, thanks to Z1 Simwheel, our sponsor for this series, to the admins and the racers who make this all possible, to Anthony Muniz and Brian Carey for their outstanding announcing, and for you for watching. We'll see you again at Silverstone. Have a great night.